But look, what did it take for us to get to the point of an apology? We had to threaten a lawsuit, Jesse. And by the way, we're still entertaining it. We're talking to some of the best lawyers out there that are experts in this. And as you know, these things can be very complicated. There's a lot of facts and circumstances around it. But we're not going to let this go, because you should not be able to smear 5,000 high school and college kids and then just be able to walk away with it. And the reason they felt they needed to do that, Jesse, is because if they told their audience the truth, that when gas is the most expensive it's been, flights are super expensive, that 5,000 kids decided to spend a weekend in summer traveling across the country to go hear from conservative speakers, maybe the audience of The View would think twice about all of their ideas. That's why they felt so compelled to try to smear our wonderful summit this last week.
So what do you get when Charlie Kirk hits The View with a $100 million lawsuit? And Sunny Hostin spirals live on daytime TV? Forget civil discourse. It's a full-on melodrama with subpoenas flying, court scenes brewing, a public meltdown brewing. At noon, and more accidental comedy than a Netflix special. As Sunny starts coming apart on camera, Whoopi's glare could slice steel. And Charlie's out here branding himself as the wounded martyr of verbal warfare. Meanwhile, the studio audience is just trying to track who's shouting, who's sobbing, and who's suddenly lawyering up. Spoiler, it's not the legal teams who crack first.
Charlie Kirk's the founder and CEO of Turning Point USA and the author of the new book, The College Scam. So, Charlie, do you accept The View's apology?
I mean, regardless of whether or not I accept it, the question is, do our students accept it? That's really what's at heart here. They went after our 5,000 students at our event there of high school and college kids. And look, I get attacked all the time. People say false things. I'm a public figure. But when you go after 16 and 17-year-olds that travel from across the country that then have to live for the rest of their life with a shadow over them because someone at ABC says that they might be linked to neo.
Let's unpack that outrageous $100 million lawsuit. Yes, a full $100 million. That number isn't just excessive. It sounds like Charlie's trying to bankroll a Bond villain dream, complete with a MAGA parrot-guarded island, a roller coaster, shaped like his Twitterette, and a private jet dipped in gold ready for takeoff when things implode. This isn't just a legal case, it's theater. It's a flex, a shockwave through daytime television that's got everyone rattled. When someone drops a number that absurd, you're not watching litigation, you're watching a high-stakes ego detonation. And who's in the blast radius? The View, that chaotic circus pretending to be a talk show. Forget dialogue, it's just a daily demolition derby of loud voices and louder emotions, where nuance is DOA and every minor disagreement gets the full DEFCON 1 treatment. What should be thoughtful discourse has morphed into a caffeine-fueled, gossip-laced war zone of overacting, eye rolls, and sound bites dressed up as substance.
Her disgusting, gross elitism and her complete out-of-touch nature with respect to the rest of the world. Sunny Hostin goes on The View and decides now would be a great time to dump all over the so-called uneducated.
What we did not have is white women who voted about 52%, right, for Donald Trump. Uneducated white women, is my understanding. You have Latino men actually voting more for him, and you have and black men was not the story. We're not the story here because they voted almost 80% for the vice.
Picture a roundtable of so-called intellectuals who think eye rolls count as airtight rebuttals. Their version of debate, a constant downpour of sarcastic claps, passive-aggressive glances, and gasps that echo louder than any valid point made. It's not discussion. It's a meme come to life, minus the charm. And for years, this echo chamber kept churning out emotional overdrive like it was scripture. Enter Charlie Kirk, who didn't just throw shade from the sidelines. He marched into the chaos, faced it head-on, and detonated a $100 million legal bomb right on their set. But this isn't about money. It's a giant flashing stop sign planted squarely in the middle of the circus. Kirk's not just suing The View. He's calling out the entire masquerade for what it really is, a loud, smug parade of performative nonsense disguised as thoughtful dialogue. This isn't about clout. It's about putting a halt to all the fake intellectual posturing. Charlie didn't pick a fight with a few co-hosts. He took aim at the entire TV outrage machine and told them to quiet down.
Because you didn't go to college doesn't mean you're stupid, and it doesn't mean that you don't have wisdom. You can go to college and get a bunch of irrelevant facts about how men can allegedly give birth or whatever they teach. But I said this to our team. I said working people, the muscular class, including working women, they are so in favor of Trump and they don't want to be called stupid or uneducated.
This lawsuit, it's less a legal maneuver and more a cultural McDrop because The View has evolved. not into something enlightening, but into something borderline reckless. It's where yelling passes as brilliance and dramatic gasps are mistaken for meaningful policy takes. That $100 million figure isn't just for show. It's a cold slap to a TV industry spinning out. With viral nonsense and weaponized victimhood, Charlie's message: you don't get to hurl misinformation, scoff at real dialogue, then wave it off as journalism. He's targeting the heart of daytime TV's outraged for-profit economy. The move might feel extreme, even theatrical, but sometimes you've got to flip the whole table to stop the spinning. At this point, The View barely resembles a discussion forum. It's more like a midday costume party of recycled takes, emotional fluff, and fast food opinions. Sunny Hostin's at the center of this chaos buffet. Once a courtroom pro, now a caffeine-fueled commentator trading legal expertise for camera time. She's tossing around legal jargon like influencer skincare tips, less law, more clickbait, all while sipping coffee and going viral for the wrong reasons.
Turning Point conference, the were in the front of turn out there in front of the conference with anti-Semitic slurs, and
I think it's important that every single person that attended that Turning Point, every Republican speak up against the swastika, against the flags that were waved.
You let them in.
President, open your
You let them in and you knew what they were.
Right.
So you are
But now the show's drowning in its own irony. Because Sunny's no longer performing a legal segment. She's trapped in an actual legal showdown. And this time, clever comebacks and dramatic breath control won't cut it. Let's skip the overused silencing women narrative. This isn't censorship. It's accountability. Just because it airs during lunch doesn't mean it's exempt from the law. Daytime TV loves waving the free speech banner. But when that speech morphs into character attacks laced with punchlines, don't act shocked when real consequences roll in. This lawsuit, it's not a publicity stunt. It's a truth bomb. It's a demand for actual receipts from a show that's been shouting unchecked for over a decade. The View has long felt like an elite opinion open mic, where shouting wins and dissent gets steamrolled by Fox empowerment. They brand it as bold commentary, but in reality, it's ideological theater dressed up in applause and catchphrases. For once, someone said no. And that someone didn't just show up with opinions. They brought legal firepower to the party.
Now we begin with a shocking apology just a short time ago from the ladies of The View to Turning Point USA. A war of words broke out after the conservative group was rallying the next generation of voters at its youth summit in Tampa, Florida this weekend. And the liberal panel just couldn't help themselves. The group sent a scathing cease and desist letter after hosts on The View suggested that Turning Point had embraced neo-Nazis who showed up outside the...
This isn't just legal paperwork, it's a brake slam on runaway daytime drama for years. The View dished out hot takes without ever checking the temperature, assuming no one would call them on it. But now, Kirk has hit pause on the performance and demanded a reality check. No more unfiltered outrage without accountability. No more turning public smear jobs into viral content. The View forgot that broadcasting to millions means playing by a few rules, and one of those rules is sometimes the microphone gets replaced with a subpoena. This isn't a scrappy battle of ideas. It's a correction for a platform that confused snark with substance. Charlie's not igniting a culture war, he's unplugging a very loudspeaker. He's not interested in clickbait sparring, he's demanding real-world consequences for weaponized banter. In an age where going viral matters more than getting it right, he's saying that truth can't be a side note. And if you throw punches on live TV, don't act surprised when the law throws one back.
Kind of humble the audience a little bit. Donald Trump won by less than a point in Wisconsin, about 28,000 votes. He won by a point-ish, 1.2 in Michigan. And then he won by 1 point in Pennsylvania. And so, Megan, it is conceivable that without this record movement of youth vote, he doesn't win.
Let's be clear, this isn't a meltdown. It's a maneuver. Charlie's flipping the script on a show that's made a brand out of steamrolling dissent. Now he's dragging their theatrics into a courtroom, where there's no studio audience, no quick edits, just uncomfortable truths and legal receipts. This isn't cancel culture, it's consequence culture with a gavel. And the irony? Chef's kiss. The self-proclaimed defenders of free speech are now being asked to explain how that freedom justifies public defamation. Sunny Hostin might want to brush up on actual courtroom rules, because this time her legal jargon won't trend, it'll be scrutinized. Backstage at ABC, it's full-blown DEFCON 1. Legal teams are combing old footage like it's Watergate tapes, trying to find the moment the train went off the rails. The host, once untouchable, now realize there's no laugh track in court, only evidence and very serious questions.
Amazing. She's specifically there referring to the women, but of course it's the non-college educated men as well who voted for Donald Trump. And the nerve of this woman to whom the country has given so much to try to dump on people who didn't go to college. Look at you. Look at your achievements. How do you like the so-called uneducated now, son?
Let's talk about what The View has really been serving, not dialogue, but dramatics. It's been less about opinions and more about caffeinated chaos masquerading as commentary. Dissecting coffee orders, sure. Turning scarves into scandal. Absolutely. Every segment seems engineered for maximum viral appeal outrage, wrapped in smug, boxed as boldness. But now, the glitter's off, and they're facing more than trending hashtags. They're staring down a docket. Gone are the glammed-up monologues. Now the judge's gavel carries the rhythm. For years they played judge and jury, but now someone showed up with actual charges. Suddenly, no one remembers who said what. Verbal jabs, character digs, all conveniently forgotten. It's been high-volume commentary with low information output. But Charlie didn't just tweet back, he brought legal firepower. This isn't revenge, it's a calculated strike. He didn't react, he responded. And this response comes with courtroom weight, not clever retorts.
If a liberal came to speak at University of Kentucky, they'd give an open mic like I just did to a conservative and had a discussion like this.
I certainly hope they would.
No, they wouldn't. Because speech is not a left-wing value. That is why they have to deploy shock troops called Antifa to go after everywhere I go. When I go to University of California, Davis next week, there has to be 120 police officers because of the threats, the violent threats of liberals that want me dead, that want to disrupt our events. There are no right-wing hecklers that come to events like...
Let's not water it down. This is more than a bruised ego or a partisan bout. Charlie's lawsuit is a direct strike at the heart of a media model running on manufactured outrage and pre-approved narratives. The View likes to present itself as bold and unfiltered, but it's been little more than an echo chamber in full glam. And now, that illusion is unraveling. This isn't a petty spat, it's a reckoning for a platform that's weaponized dissent and punish deviation. Every differing opinion has been met with sneers, eye rolls, and choreographed backlash. Now, someone unfazed by the noise has stepped in, not to debate, but to dismantle. That $100 million isn't just a price tag, it's a warning flare shot. Directly it shows that confused mockery with journalism. The message is clear. If you're going to treat public figures like punching bags, don't act stunned when one hits back legally. Sure, the drama's boosting ratings, but what's really selling now is accountability.
I don't want to say too much, but we're going to have a lot of fun at the Department of Education. We're going to have a lot of fun.
Can I tell you something? Like, I've had quite a few people contact me about that particular post. Like, I'm sure I have 1/100th of what you're getting, but people are contacting me about cabinet posts. I'm like, I got
look,
nothing.
I mean, yeah, I'm actually, after this conversation, heading to Mar-a-Lago for a week, and we have a lot to sift through. And if I could be helpful, I have asked. I want to be actively involved in all things education, as you can imagine.
Then take a moment and sit with what's happening here. Charlie Kirk, the guy who's been mocked for being too loud, is now the one slapping a $100 million reality check on the loudest show in daytime TV. And rather than ducking, he's charging head on into the spotlight. Because The View, it hasn't been thoughtful discourse in years. It's become a catwalk of bias, cloaked in high fashion, where the loudest sarcasm wins the segment. But now, the talk has consequences. This isn't another spicy take, it's a legal brick through the window of daytime snark. Detractors will call it a PR stunt, but if so, give the man an Emmy. Because it's the first time their noise is being met with substance. This suit isn't a vanity play, it's a message. Loud and clear, enough with the dramatized debates and judgment masquerading as journalism. The View can spin it however they want: satire, opinion, protected speech, but when it becomes character, assassination in real time, someone's going to call foul. And that someone just did, for once. The people asking the questions are now the ones being asked a few. And maybe, just maybe, it's about time.